Did I mute too much?
Let me just see here. None. Okay, hang on, folks. Uh, oh, now we're
I
good.
might have
Okay,
muted too much because I entered Restream.
okay. Can you hear both
Did
of
I
us, guys?
mute?
Oh, now we're good.
Are we good now?
Uh, okay, working now. Okay, so there might have been a
Good.
hiccup.
Okay, okay, okay. Maybe it was me. It
S
was me. I take the blame.
No, 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 no. I think maybe like every time, like whenever we make those brief pauses, I never know if this is like they caught us in between the conversation. Um, but everyone can hear us now. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we, just to be on the
Okay.
safe side, why don't we swing it back to you? Just
Mm.
let us give
Question,
folks your thoughts
technical
about the movie The
question. If I
Batman.
close Restream, will it close the stream?
No, because like I'm still
You
on. It
sure?
just
You
it would just
sure?
close the restream camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 I
Yeah,
close
she's
it.
still here.
So because I was hearing the echo. Do I do a rerun? Okay. I'm just gonna say it in short way. Also, since no one heard it, we said that today is going to be a shorter video stream. We're both tired. It's fun to be here, but we need to cut it short today. But the fun is still the same. And we're going to talk about the Batman, the latest movie. And Robert gave me the microphone. And what I said is that, in short, I enjoyed it. I liked it. Dark, younger Batman, a goth Batman, a nice villain. I liked it. So yeah, we take it from there. And then I asked you, what did you think, Robert? And you started with, well, and that's like,
She's
okay.
even got my mannerisms down pat, folks. No,
Yeah,
I mean I
exactly.
agree. What's great about the movie is it takes a fresher take of Batman, just that in other versions of the film. The big contrast that was interesting is that it shows Batman less sure of himself, less confident, which is a stark
Hmm.
difference from the other film because he's a lot more polished. He's already like embattled, really a grizzly veteran like hero into the throes. And here,
Hmm.
because he's in the earlier part of his stage, that he's a little bit unsure himself, and so it's I don't want to say it's jarring, but I think because it's so ingrained that how he's very well prepared, he knows what he's doing, and essentially a lot more confident. So to seem a little bit off his, I don't say off his game, but hasn't quite developed there. I don't know. I think because like a lot of times maybe it's the young fandom. And he's like, come on, like you know what to do, and the fact that because he's portrayed as like this confident detective, a sleuthing hero, and then falls short in terms of putting the clues together, or just not sure what to make of like of a villain. Like, well, this is the first time he meets Riddler, so uh, I think maybe that takes away of it. But I mean, for the overall film of it was good. I mean, it had a great plot. I mean, Zoe Kravitz, who played the Catwoman, she was fun to watch in action, with his interaction.
Yes, he was good. Yeah. And I would like to know from the chat, from people in the chat. I mean, have you seen the new Batman? Did you like it, or did you think it was yet another Batman, or did you enjoy the younger, a less mature? Because we talked about it also, Robert, about the character. What we see, as you said, it's a younger version of Batman, which we haven't seen in the previous ones. It was always a mature, like a well-established entrepreneur, the businessman.
Right.
Which here, I guess, well, he has the properties and the business and the money, but we don't see him engaged too much. I don't think he has reached that level. It's like he's trying to discover himself, like an angry teenager, but like an angry young person, like in his early 20s. He's not a teenager, but he's kind of in that uh,
It's
early
right. It's not
stages
like
of
those.
adulthood.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like those coming of age film because he's of age. It's just that he hasn't fully developed both the hero and then
Mhm.
somewhat as the individual. I can't remember where in the film, but and of course, because we're talking about the Batman, there's major spoilers. But so there's that
Oh
one
yeah,
scene
spoiler
where
alert. Exactly. Yes.
so there's that one scene where I think like right after like Alfred opens a package which was meant for Bruce Wayne, and now he's in the hospital, and he's talking to Bruce in the hospital, saying like it's not his fault and everything like that. And I thought it was interesting that in the during that dialogue, um, Bruce Wayne was just saying about how he's very fearful about how things were happening to people close to him, and it kind of like fall back to the point we mentioned earlier that is we're just not used to seeing him portrayed as someone that as vulnerable in his persona, where you would see him more as this vengeful Cape Crusader hero trying to strike fear in hearts of the villain. And so for him to admit that he was fearful for himself, that I think, if not highlight, at least points to like a major difference of the tone of the film, because it's the early stage. He's still trying to develop himself, and so to have that personal conversation is something you don't traditionally see in other films and such. So, so that's where like even though like how I said it was a little bit jarring to see the character portray less confident. On the flip side, it's good that you get a chance to see a little bit more like see uh if not psychological, at least like his thought process that you're not really privy to in either comic book form. Well, maybe there might be. I take it back. Video, movie or TV and such. I know like Gotham had focused like of him as his youth. I haven't really seen it, so I can't say for sure if they did a better job. But I mean, to see it in a larger setting like in the movies, it does stand out.
I like what you said about the Batman having more of a personal, like we see more of emotions and the fear, and it makes sense, I guess, since we see a younger version of the Batman. He hasn't reached that level where he's the vengeful, in the other movies, both the Michael Keaton and the rest, and Christian Bale. It's funny I say them with the main characters, like actors' name. Um, but yeah, he hasn't reached that level yet, so he goes through all those emotions and conflicts or not with Alfred. So we
Mhm.
see that maybe we shouldn't spoil too much, but they have some intense discussions where they try to discover the relationship, or at least, well, Alfred, he knows the relationship. Batman has to discover his relationship with Alfred. So
Right,
yeah, it's a lot of those things. I mean, you see the development that is going to happen, that that this has happened, how it started, I guess.
right.
And also, if I go to the Riddler, that is a major spoiler, like if you haven't seen the film. But I guess, okay, you get to know what it is. It a major spoiler? Maybe it's not. Okay, it's a villain. The villain. We talked about actors a bit also on the pre-show.
Yep,
uh, Paul Dano,
yep,
he does an amazing job. Like, it's and I think I said it to you, or we agreed, the pattern. There's a pattern that many villains in the Batman movies are played by exceptional actors, like maybe better. Well, all the Batmans, they're great. Even Robert Pattinson, that uh, you know, people were saying, oh, like what, the glittery vampire is going to play the Batman. But I think he did a great job. I couldn't. He was amazing. I never said so. I didn't see that connection with the teenage idol. But Paul Dano, that plays the villain, I think to me it was mind blowing performance.
yeah. It was funny because like when you think about it, because um, when you say Patterson, most people associate him with the vampire
Sorry,
film.
and now I saw that he hasn't seen it. Oh no.
I know. I just wrote in the chat just that we'll try not to go overboard on the spoilers. But so pretty much, and we're
Uh,
pretty much painting like broad strokes, so we won't go too details. But in terms of like the actors and the character portrayal, but I think to your point where Patterson is more associated to like the vampire films, that because you know they say it's more like like an emo type of film that I guess it does make sense if they're gonna portray a Batman at a younger age where he's still trying to discover
Exactly.
himself. So
Mm,
it's almost like trying
it
to
makes sense.
hire an experienced actor that's in that setting. It would make sense because I think it would be hard to see like Christian Bale that tries go, "Oh, my feelings." I can't do the voice, but you get the idea.
But still, again, he wasn't so. Yeah, okay. You could see. Yeah, a younger actor was better to portray him. Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, feelings. It was, yeah. Well, okay, it was not like, oh, my feelings, but okay, you could see that he portrayed a troubled young man trying to find his exactly his role in this world, or what he thinks he wants to become. You have written some comments here. You have wrote some things that uh, yeah, we're talking about the less mature Batman.
Mhm.
You wrote a tragedy portray Bruce as victim.
Right. It was
Was
like
it
playing
your
up.
comment? Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
exactly. It was just like what we were talking about earlier about Alfred and Bruce talking while he was laying in bed, and that's where you see how he's a lot more vulnerable as Bruce was discussing about his fear. So that was the point that we were talking about earlier. And
mm.
what's interesting is that because the movie portrays Batman in that stage of his life, it does pull slightly different source materials for the film. So we talked about how like Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns uh, was
Mhm, mhm,
was something that was used in the Batman versus Superman films that with Zack Snyder. In the Batman, it focused. I know that like with the character Carmine Falcone, that was a character that was from um the trade paperback, sorry, the graphic novel series, Batman: The Long Halloween. That was written by Jeff Loeb, and the artist was Tim Sale, and that kind of created that the environment or the character or what have you for that film, in terms of how shows Gotham at an earlier setting before it was the Gotham of today, where it still has ties from the older, generation of when Batman's father, Thomas Wayne, was around. Like, I guess it was interesting how they talk about, like, the Arkham family because you only hear Arkham mentioned as an Arkham Asylum, so it's
mhm.
setting the tone of, like, almost like a prequel, but not quite a prequel, film setting of having these established, generational characters before Batman in his time. It's just kinda portray a different Gotham, but the same Gotham in terms of its tone and the not this how there's because there was a heavy crime, um, world undertone of it that as weird as it sounds, a lot more darker, grittier than what people know Gotham City as it was with Batman being prevalent, trying to make, the city more, habitable, I guess, is the
I
way.
haven't watched Gotham, but no, the TV show. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen one, two, three episodes, maybe. Well, it was dark. It had that darkness feeling, of course, but after a while, I was like, I couldn't. I don't know. It didn't
It's
got
like
my attention because I wanted to see more Batman, not the rest. Which, of course, are good. I mean, the Penguin. I remember the Penguin was very nicely portrayed. Like, also, I guess it must have a nice character Batman development, I guess, and that actor was great, but I didn't watch it. But I
yeah.
remember I asked you also what the comics that are closer to that film, period wise, and you said, and it was Danny O'Neill and the artist Neil Adams that transitioned in general from, like, I don't know if I say correctly, 60s and 70s more cartoonistic Batman to a more mature series,
Mhm.
and it was Frank Miller that did Batman Year One series, right?
Yep. Yep. And
Yeah.
as well as the Frank Miller's, Batman: The Dark Knight Return, which was, like, setting that was set, like, I think much more futuristic, not too futuristic, but, a future
Later.
version. Yeah, later, much later,
Mm,
like, when Batman's, like,
much
really old.
later.
Um,
Okay.
but it still had the same, undertone where it just takes him as really s- serious, grisly type of individual. Where in the
A
'60s, it's
troubled person. Yeah.
troubled. Okay, troubled
Yes.
grizzly,
Mm.
not a grizzly bear, but uh,
No, no, but yeah. But in the 60s, yeah, it was more of a,
lighthearted,
how do you
campy.
say?
I mean, the TV show really focused more on that tone, and so
Boom, bang, kaboom.
exactly,
Those-
yeah, with Adam West and Burt Ward, who played Batman Robin at the time. And so when you get to like when the '70s, where DC Comics with the writer Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams, started to change the tone where they treated more mature. And before, when you had like Batman and Robin were paired as like a ward and his mentor or mentee, it just focused solely on just Batman. So that started to build like the early template of how they were view Batman as the character and how they tell the stories, and more focus on his the villains or the rogue gallery. So, um,
Mm, mm.
so I guess you could say like it did continue with that with on the Batman theme. I mean the movie The Batman, and just like focus more on some more current materials in painting a slightly different picture, but yet still hold true the themes that you've seen in past incarnations, but not too much like it was focusing on the origin, but just the theme and the
So, well, we did talk about the actors, and we had written some trivia where we have seen those actors before, like Paul Dano.
Mhm.
He's on Little Miss Sunshine,
Yep.
and he's also on Prisoners with Hugh Jackman, and on Looper. I remember him on Prisoners more vividly, and also because we were talking about actors, we said, or I said, well, I was fascinated from like the Batman villains, the actors, because we have Jim Carrey, even though
Mm.
that film where he played the Riddle was, well, I liked at this time because I was young. It was in the cinema. It was Val Kilmer, that he had recently played, or was it after that he had played Jim Morrison? It was because it was Val Kilmer. I liked it, but okay, whatever. It was not a good film, really. I mean, it was very silly, I guess. But Jim Carrey, his performance, regardless, even though he had a very cartoonistic costume, he was top. Like he was amazing, and we can say the same about Paul Dano, and I guess the majority will agree about Heath Ledger, the Joker, that blew everyone's mind. His
Mhm.
performance, amazing. Like guy that I remember him. I liked him from like silly romantic films. Well, I haven't
Right.
seen the Brokeback Mountain. He had played there before, right?
Right.
I haven't seen it, but I remember him from 10 Things I Hate About You, which is just silly, nice, fun, romantic comedy. And then, you see a full blown Joker with all his issues and everything, and a mature man. And I was like, I remember my brother, he saw it first and he was like, my God, he should take the Oscar for that. He was still alive at the time. And spoiler alert. I guess no, I don't think so. Everyone knows that he is dead, unfortunately, in real life. But
Yeah.
he told me like he should get the Oscar. His performance was amazing. I remember that. And yeah, I just wanted to say that. And I don't know, do you people in the chat agree, disagree? It feels like the more I talk about it, the more I realize that the villains, actors, maybe they overpower Batman in a way. I don't know, overshadow, not, I mean, no, but I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, in the films, like because like the villain may have like a slightly, I'm sorry, shit, is more fully developed in terms of the scope of their background and pain is more fleshed out. That it seems to overshadow Batman just because like um kind of know his story already, and because the villains may not necessarily have that full attention, so that when they're featured, people are more interested just to find out like, well, what makes this villain tick.
Great point. Correct. You're absolutely correct. So, yeah, you see the Batman, you know exactly more or less his story, and then you see a troubled killer or villain, and the way he's portrayed. I mean, and now I remember back, I get flashbacks now, from
Yeah.
Paul Dano playing the Riddler. It was so like sick, a sick villain. It was He was the bad guy, but in a very sick way also, because the costume and everything.
Yeah. I thought a good way to illustrate your point was, the to put it like a
Yes,
picture of Paul Dano's Riddler and then Jim Carrey's Riddler, the drive home the point.
yes, yes.
So, if you can see that, I mean, you can see from the start, I mean, they really, made, the Riddler a lot more, menacing in his outfit, and Carrie's a lot more towards, like, what you would see, like, in the early '60s, Batman films where
Mm,
he's light green, got the mask and everything like that, and so but, I mean, even though, like, as maniacal, Jim Carrey's performance was, I mean, to your point about how there's, like, depth in the character, just, like, what made him be, like, the Riddler, it was I mean, they both had different acting style, but just in terms of the tone of it, you could say that there's some similarity to it, but I mean, Paul Dano took it a lot further. With
definitely. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I think what was interesting is that how they use the social media elements in the film to amp up the
Right.
creep factor. I mean, like how we're live streaming. I mean, the fact that how he uses that as his platform to reach out his audience and
Smart.
yeah,
Mm,
and, what was even a lot more, I don't know if I'd say creepy or whatever that, but you know how, like, when, the Batman and, the cop, and they were, like they finally gained access to video that was locked out on the computer, and they played it, and it's, like, how he was interacting with his audience or community in terms of just it's almost kinda creepy, like, it's like it almost felt like a
it was.
crowdsourcing of
Yeah.
him trying to
Mm,
help out,
mm,
that epic scene in the, arena where you see all the shooters on the top
mm,
there,
mm.
and I'm like, he used it, like, live streaming just to get recruit people.
He built a community
Yeah, it kinda because like, when you hear
in the
community
dark web.
in a dark way, I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's just
Exactly. Yes. Like, uh, yeah.
it's
I agree. And it's an interesting point now that you say that. You reminded me about the social media and the streaming. He did that so we do understand, okay, we're talking about nowadays, current
yeah,
era, like, yeah. But the intro music, it's 90s, it's Nirvana, which maybe, I don't know, I haven't read anything about it, if it's that, it wants to give the whole nostalgic or younger version of something that you would expect a Batman, how Batman was in the 90s. I don't know how, when he was born, what year he was born, how old he should be now if he was younger in the 90s. But then again, you see that, okay, it takes place now, so it's current, so he's now. So yeah, it's just something that I associated now. No, no, never mind. No worries.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
But
but
it's
yeah, yes,
no, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I mean, it's just that, it as weird as it sounds, just to see, in real time of just s things that we associate now, it's just interesting how they would use that for the characters that we see, like, what would they be like if they happen in real life? So that type of not reality and fantasy blur, but just the fact that how realistic it was portrayed in terms of how the character would interact with folks on
mm.
online in that saying was pretty interesting. Um
It would. I would say it could have been realistic. I mean, yeah, that's how people do it. He was an influencer on the dark side, but an influencer nonetheless. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mm,
I think I don't know if it's like Reddit or stuff, but just the idea of like how they were like you would see like the chat dialogue of the community of just like saying like, hey, did you bring XYZ weapon or what have you? I'm like, whoa, that's taking it a lot farther in terms of just
He was probably
ethics.
streaming in the darknet or something. I don't know. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, but yeah, yeah, mm, bold.
yeah,
Yeah,
but but the
yeah.
oh oh god, I can't remember the actor's name that played Commissioner Gordon. I think it was Jeffrey Wright. Um,
Oh, I
but
don't know his name. He did a good job. Also, I liked him as a commissioner, Gordon. Yeah.
how'd you like the portrayal of how they interact with each other between Commissioner Gordon and the Batman?
Well, they how they interacted. Uh, I can only remember that main scene that it was also as a teaser that they are inside that prison. Gordon, of course, he always tries to help him and assist him, and Batman does the same. And he ends up being in trouble, Gordon, for trying to help him. But he sacrificed, okay, punts me or something so that you can run away. I guess that was the build. Was he already a commissioner, or was he was a commissioner? No, no, like in the ranks, as in the Dark Knight. But anyway, I guess we see how they start to build up that relationship as well, and how
Right.
okay, it was an instant. Okay, we understand each other. I understand you. I understand you. You're what word am I searching? Not a villain, a vigilante, which is illegal, but
Yeah.
maybe he understands that he needs him. So yeah.
Yeah.
What
Well,
do you
because
think?
it's a good point you mentioned because I forgot how in the film he's at a detective level, and in the other films, he's like already commissioner, and
Mm,
so so it's almost has that kind of like the buddy cop feel when they were when they were like hunting after the Riddler and how they were dealing the Penguin there, where
mm.
in other iterations, the only time they would interact with each other is when they're on the roof of the building. It's almost like they treated more like a debriefing, like, okay, here's what we found. Now go get them. Here, like they're in the streets, they're going after the bad guys. They're
Yeah,
driving in their
exactly.
cars and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. More in the field. Yeah. I think, Robert, this is the time where we should wrap things up because today, as we said, it's going to be a short one. I know that the
Yeah,
conversation is getting interesting, but we have to cut it short today, unfortunately.
yeah.
Any
I mean,
final thought? Do we recommend people to go see it if they haven't?
well, I don't know if it's still in theaters, but at least I know it's available on
Stream it,
streaming.
or yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I mean, I think for the fact that if people are looking for like a fresh take of the Batman, and just want to like see something different, yeah, I'd say I think folks should watch it. I was gonna
It's
ask.
snacks. It's 3 hours. Get some
Oh yeah,
snacks. But
it is
I
3 hours.
never. It is 3 hours, but I didn't have a problem. I thought it just went very smooth for me. I really enjoyed it. But okay, but get some popcorns. You might popcorn or snacks or whatever. Chips at home, something to drink. Yeah,
Yeah, and if you need to treat
and
it
the
like a
toilet
marathon,
break. Yeah,
that's why it's always good to if you can see it at home, you don't
yeah.
have far to
I
go
agree.
for
I
snacks or a restroom
agree.
break.
Exactly. I agree. True.
But I was just gonna like say if folks if people want to hear more the next show, just let us know. Otherwise, as always, as we get closer to the next show, keep folks up to date as to what we'll talk about and
We
a
will let
date
you
and
know
time.
in the social media about the subject. But of course, we are open, as you said, to suggestions. Let us know what you want us to discuss and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, and certainly like we welcome all questions or even suggestions for the next show. So don't hold back.
exactly. Let us
S-
know in the comments below. Yeah.
or
Yes.
however you're viewing us. So,
Yes.
um, yeah. So other than that, I was gonna say like, how about final thoughts with you on the Batman and everything?
Well, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to rewatch it again on stream with more snacks and a nice cozy evening here. I think it's on HBO. Is it?
Mhm.
Um, and probably pay attention to some more details, that I might have missed. Yeah. I really enjoyed Robert Pattinson as the Batman, as the young Batman. Yeah, I think he did a great job. We don't
Yep.
see too much Bruce Wayne, but that could have been nice to see a bit more Bruce Wayne. But we see the Batman a lot, and for that, I'm fulfilled. I'm happy.
Okay.
That's my final thought.
I, I
Yeah.
was gonna say like I did. I felt like I'm cheating on a test, but I like before the show I did try to like speed watch it just to kind of refresh myself on it because I knew like because it's such a long film, there's a lot to take in. So,
I
but
okay. I understand. Mm, mm, no worries.
if I
It's
hadn't,
okay. It's okay.
I
Uh,
probably would have like forgotten a lot of stuff.
okay. Okay. Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, how long ago did you watch it?
Let's say maybe an hour ago.
That's okay. That was a speed run. Okay. that,
I did watch it like a couple
okay.
days ago too, but like I was starting to forget some of
Okay.
the
You
things.
just
I'm like, so like
okay.
I had to
Okay.
like
Well, I can say that you are committed. At least you are committed to the show. Do your research.
I
Nice.
thought you could say I need to be committed to Arkham. Like, well, I guess it could go either way. So,
No, no. Well, no, 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 no. No worries. No, we're good. We're good. But
all right,
okay.
but
Well,
yeah, it's,
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say, like, it's been even though it is a short episode today, it's always a pleasure to talk about uh, pop culture stuff with you, Robert, and movies and films. And but again, we are open to suggestions. Of course, we want your recommendations, people. If you want us to discuss about the pop culture thing that we haven't yet, let us know in the comments.
Yep, and
And you have done a great job with the social media in where people can find us in the description below. We have prepared
thanks.
it.
Yep. So
Mm,
it's in the video description as where you can find us, or if you want to leave comments there on for ideas for next show, or just what your thoughts of it. Uh, like we say, we will welcome the feedback and always love to learn what you guys are thinking or what thoughts you have. Um, and oh man, what a bad time to have a brain freeze right now. Um,
Brain
oh
freeze. Have you eaten ice cream? Yes. Yes.
no, I was gonna say like no, I only have almonds on me right now, but
Okay.
but I was gonna say like yeah, I mean but if folks, had missed the early part of it, you can always watch the replay in the, respective, social media channels of, this program. So,
Yes.
other
Exactly.
than that, I'll cue the, end credits and, look forward to seeing everyone, soon.
In approximately 4 weeks, in a month. It's a monthly show. We do it once a month. So stay
Right,
tuned. Follow us in social media to do not miss any of the updates and more info about the next show.
exactly. Alright.
Mm.
Till then, everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys later.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.